You are chasing happiness like a man sprinting after the horizon, and the horizon keeps moving. You tighten your grip on control like a fist that never opens, and your life slips like sand through the cracks. This is the law that moves beneath your decisions. The more you chase one extreme, the more you awaken its opposite. This is the great reversal, the hidden current that turns your pursuit of light into a descent into darkness. You have felt this already. The harder you try to be happy, the more hollow you feel when the feeling does not obey your plan. The more you demand control, the more chaotic the world becomes, as if to mock you. Control your diet, lose control at midnight. Control your schedule, lose control of your sleep. Control your partner, lose the relationship. If you do not see this law at work in you, it will keep working in secret. It will turn your life into a tug of war where both ends of the rope are held by your own hands. You watch others who seem calm, and in the quiet hour you wonder why your discipline creates pressure instead of freedom. You wonder why your goals feel like cages with gold bars. You suspect you are missing a principle, a law beneath the surface that bends results away from your intention. And you are right. If you ignore this now, here is what will happen. Your attempts to fix yourself will become your new self. You will identify with the fixer, and your life will be a series of projects that never end, because the maintenance of your control becomes your true addiction. Your future relationships will suffer the same pattern. You will try to manage love like a contract, and love will escape like smoke through a keyhole. You will think you are failing because you are not trying hard enough. In truth, you will be failing because you are trying in the wrong direction. This is the failure of the straight line. You cannot march your way to inner peace like an army taking territory. If you use force against the mind responds with rebellion. Carl Jung called this drift toward the opposite Enantiodromia, the running toward the counterpoint. He saw it not as moral punishment, but as nature pulling us back from imbalance. You have a choice today. You can keep treating your inner life like a machine, or you can learn the rhythm of this law and work with it the way a sailor works with wind and tide. Let me tell you a story. It is your story, but we will tell it as if it belongs to someone else so you can see it clearly. Once there was a builder who feared storms. In his youth, he survived a flood that took his home, so he swore never again to be surprised by chaos. He found a mountain and built a fortress of perfect angles, stone upon stone, with gates that locked at a whisper. He designed channels to catch the rain and store it with precision. He measured each day. He mapped every hallway. He drafted a schedule for the seasons, the visitors, the meals. In his journals, he wrote, "Safety is earned, but the mountain had a river running beneath it, hidden under rock, drifting for miles like a patient thought." He never visited the river because it reminded him of the flood. The fortress grew famous and people came to see the builder's precision. They marveled at his clocks and his reservoirs that never leaked. He spoke in steady tones and said, "I have learned to control uncertainty." The river listened. Season after season, it shifted one grain of sand at a time. The mountain remained proud and the builder remained confident as decades slipped past. One autumn, the builder noticed hairline cracks in a remote chamber. He sent workers to patch them, then sealed the door and strengthened the locks. He told himself, "Be thorough." Winter came hard and slow. The river swelled with melted snow from distant peaks, and it pressed the mountain from within. The builder did not know the pressure had shifted. In the silent night, the lowest vault groaned. A hinge bent. A door that had not moved in 20 years moved slightly under the weight of water that demanded to be seen. When the first stone broke, it sounded like a drum. Water entered with the authority of a forgotten law. It surged through the corridor and roared up the stairs. The builder woke to the sound of his own footsteps finally outrun. He ran to shut valves, to throw levers, to command gates he had designed to obey him. Not one mechanism stopped the river. He climbed the highest tower and found the sky waiting, wide and dark. He realized he had built a fortress to keep out one force, and in doing so, he had invited that force to gather until it became irresistible. He had turned safety into pressure. He had turned control into chaos. He had run so far from fear that he met it on the other side. When the waters receded, the mountain still stood, but the fortress had changed forever. Rooms were reshaped into new curves, and some hallways now opened into the sky. The builder sat among the wreckage and listened to the river that had always been there. For the first time, he went to it and stood on its bank with no plan. He heard not a threat, but a rhythm. He understood that he had not been wrong to want safety, but he had been wrong to try to freeze life into a permanent shape. The more he tried to stop the river, the stronger it grew. He decided to rebuild with a new principle. He would invite the river to move through his design rather than fight it. He would become a steward, not a jailer. He cut deliberate channels, opened courtyards to the rain, and set spillways where overflow could run safely. His clocks stayed, but they no longer barked orders. They chimed like reminders. When the next flood came, it ran through the fortress like music through a hall. There was motion, but no crisis. The river arrived, expressed itself, and left. The builder had become less rigid, and somehow his fortress became stronger. He discovered peace not by silencing the river, but by letting it sing in tune with the walls. This is what happens in you. When you seal away anger, it returns as depression or numbness. When you pursue cheerfulness at all costs, it returns as emptiness. When you demand perfection from yourself, your body rebels with fatigue. When you hide your need for connection, loneliness hollows out your nights. Where, right now, is your river pushing quietly on a locked door inside you? Where has your pursuit of control hardened into pressure that you can no longer hold? Take a breath and be honest. What feeling are you trying to capture and nail to the wall? What force are you putting into a box that was never meant for boxes? Jung pointed out that the psyche self-corrects, not to punish, but to find wholeness. When one side of you tries to dominate, the other side grows stronger to balance it. This is why trying to control everything ends with nothing under control. This is why chasing happiness at top speed produces anxiety and guilt, because you perceive any deviation as failure. You are not weak for feeling this. You are encountering a law that everyone meets when they finally get serious about growth. You have discovered the limits of the straight line, and that is good news. Ask yourself, where do you white-knuckle your life? Where are you micromanaging your outcome because you fear what will happen if you let go even 1%? Ask yourself, what do you resent when you look in the mirror at midnight? Is it the fact that you are tired or the fact that you still believe you must win against yourself? Now look at the cost of continuing. If you keep running, you will create a life where every good thing is a test, every breath graded, every joy interrogated for defects. If you keep locking your doors against fear, you will lock out love. You will end up safe and alone, a king of a kingdom with no citizens. You must act now, not because fear says so, but because your energy is precious and finite. The longer you fight the river, the more of your life it will erode. Let us turn from story to practice. Close the book on our builder for a moment and open the door to your own morning. Here is what you can do now to reverse the reversal and regain inner peace. First, name the chase. In one sentence, write what you are chasing that is creating its opposite, like I am chasing perfect calm and creating tension. Keep it plain. Second, name the fear behind it. If you are chasing happiness, maybe you fear rejection. If you are chasing control, maybe you fear betrayal by life. Put words to the ghost. Third, cut the pursuit by 5% for 7 days. Not by half, that is dramatic. Go small to teach your nervous system that nothing explodes when you loosen the grip. If you check your calendar 12 times a day, check it 11. If you plan every conversation, leave one sentence unplanned. If you force positivity, allow one honest sigh. Fourth, create a ritual of opposite action for 5 minutes each day. If you avoid uncertainty, schedule 5 minutes of deliberate uncertainty, like walking without a route or cooking without a recipe. If you avoid stillness, sit in a chair for 5 minutes and do nothing on purpose. Not meditation as a technique, simply deliberate idleness as a statement. I am not a machine. Fifth, protect the middle. Avoid extremes for 2 weeks in one area of your life you tend to swing hardest. Move your bedtime by 15 minutes instead of 2 hours. Reduce sugar rather than eliminate it completely. Lift weights at 70% instead of maxing out. The middle is not mediocrity. The middle is the range where you can adapt without breaking. It is where the river flows without destroying the banks. Sixth, practice a daily surrender sentence. Speak it out loud once per day. Today, I will let some things be imperfect. Or, today, I will let the river move through. Your ego will claw at this. It will say surrender is weakness. It will not tell you that your strength has become a cage. Seventh, conduct a control audit. List the 3 places where you exert the most force: body, work, relationships. For each, ask, what would 5% softer look like? If you routinely give advice your partner did not ask for, stop once a day and simply listen. If you micromanage your team, let one decision stand without revision. The aim is not to become passive. The aim is to entangle yourself less so that your influence can be clean when it matters. Eighth, practice scheduled uncertainty. Pick one small thing per week that you will not plan. A drive with no destination, a workout with no timer, a day where you do what seems right without a list. Your nervous system will protest. Let it protest without obeying. Notice that the world does not collapse. Ninth, reframe happiness as byproduct, not task. Replace I must feel good with I will live well. Live in ways that make happiness possible without making it compulsory. Choose one act each day that builds meaning whether or not it feels good in the moment. Call a friend, read a page, stretch for 10 minutes, cook a real meal. 10th, install a gentle governor. When you have a surge of intention, new plan, new routine, pause one sleep cycle before you act. Sleep cools the fever. If the plan still feels clear in the morning, begin small. If it fades, let it go without a war. Not every bright idea requires a crusade. 11th, create a weekly dark hour. Once a week, sit alone with the lights dimmed and ask, what truth am I avoiding? Do not argue with the answer. Listen. This prevents the buildup that turns into an explosion. It is the small release valve that keeps the fortress from cracking in the night. 12th, seek the middle path in speech. When you feel the need to prove you are right, say one sentence less. Leave a space for oxygen in the conversation. This is not submission. This is creating room for truth to find its level without splashing over the rim. 13th, replace judging with observing for one day each week. On that day, you are a scientist of your own reactions. You record without sentencing yourself. Observation breaks the cycle that says, I must fix this immediately. It gives your mind proof that awareness can exist before action, and sometimes it is enough. 14th, build in reversals intentionally. If you tend to isolate, schedule a weekly conversation without an agenda. If you tend to seek constant company, schedule solitude. By choosing the opposite consciously, you diffuse the unconscious backlash. You become the river's collaborator, not its obstruction. 15th, remember the law of rhythm. You do not need to be happy all the time to live a good life. In fact, trying to demand constant happiness destroys your ability to notice it. Happiness is a guest that visits when the house is open. Open the doors. Keep them unlocked, not by force, but by kindness to yourself. Now, let us return to the builder once more. After his surrender, he still faced storms, but he did not panic. He watched his channels and cleaned them before the rains. He became a friend to the river. He learned its seasons. He hosted it when it came and blessed it when it left. Peace did not erase challenge. It reshaped his posture. He stopped calling himself safe because nothing bad could happen. He called himself safe because he had chosen a way of living that could meet what happened. You too can be that builder. You can stop turning your strengths into weapons against yourself. You can stop making your discipline cruel. You can keep what is good, your ambition, your drive, your standards, without letting them harden into brittle armor. You can keep your sword, but sheath it when you come home. I will ask you directly, what is one area this week where you will choose 5% less control? What is one area where you will allow 5% more life? Write it down now. Tell a trusted person if you can. Not to perform, but to anchor the choice. If loneliness is your quiet predator, invite one person into your unplanned hour. Walk together without a destination. Let conversation find its own shape. If judgment rules your mind, practice a day of naming actions without applause or condemnation. I did this. I felt that. I notice this and stop. If fear of losing control keeps you awake, set a time to worry each day for 15 minutes, then close the book and move. Box the fear, not your life. You may ask, what if I loosen my grip and everything falls apart? I will ask, what if tightening has been the thing pulling everything apart? Do not confuse vigilance with rigidity. A guard stands watch. A statue crumbles. Be the guard who stands, not the statue pretending to never move. You may ask, what if the river drowns me? The river has been carrying you since you were a child. It has carried every person you respect. It asks only that you float sometimes instead of always swimming upstream. Let your life have tides. Let your work have seasons. Let your body have days of power and days of rest. That is how the law stops turning your efforts against you. That is how the great reversal becomes the great return. Now, I want to give you a simple daily practice that binds all this together. It takes 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. In the morning, ask 3 questions. What will I not chase today? Where will I be 5% softer? Where will I let the river move through? At night, ask 3 reflections. Where did I chase and feel the backlash? Where did softness make me stronger? What surprised me when I let go? Over 1 week, you will feel the rhythm change. Over 1 month, others will notice you are less brittle, more real. Over 1 year, your life will feel built to handle weather. Some will misunderstand your calm and call it apathy. They will not see the steady work you have done to build channels for your river. That is fine. You do not live for their approval. Keep moving, keep listening, keep choosing gentleness over force where force has failed you. And when you stumble, as you will, do not turn your stumble into a verdict. Turn it into data. Adjust 5% and continue. One more thing. There is a paradox you can practice to disarm the great reversal. Pursue what you can control most directly, your effort, your attention, your honesty, and release what you cannot, outcomes, timelines, other people's choices. Channel your need for control into craft, into process, into training, into doing a good job today. Then set the results free. This returns dignity to your action. It gives you peace at night because you worked faithfully, not because the world bowed to your plan. I will leave you with an image. Imagine your life as a long bridge over a moving river. The water never stops, but the bridge does not need to collapse. It needs to flex. Flex where you can. I want into the afternoon instead, and where you must. Let the river keep its power and you will keep your peace. If you wake tomorrow and feel the old urge to clamp down on everything, remember the builder who became a steward. Remember that what you fear is not the river, it is the loss of the fortress you no longer need. You do not need a prison of your own making. You need a home for your life. You are capable of building it. 1 step at a time, 5% at a time. Day by day, less combat, more cooperation with your own nature. Build channels. Protect the middle. Speak 1 sentence less. Rest before you launch. Invite 1 hour of uncertainty and see that you do not fall apart. You are not here to prove you can outrun the horizon. You are here to walk under a sky that changes with a pace that respects the weather. The great reversal is real, but so is your capacity to work with it and not be ruled by it. Chasing happiness creates misery when it becomes a commandment. Chasing control creates chaos when it becomes a cage. Choose instead to cultivate meaning and invite peace. Choose to guide the river, not dam it. You will not lose yourself by easing your grip. You will find yourself, the part of you that can finally breathe because it is no longer pushing the river uphill. When the pressure rises again, and it will, remember this law and smile. The river is knocking because it knows the way home. Open the gate you built for it. Walk with it. Adjust your steps. Return to the middle when you drift to the edge. This is not the end of your discipline. It is the beginning of your wisdom. Do this now, not tomorrow when you are less busy, not next year when you believe you will finally be worthy of rest. Now, name the chase. Loosen 5%. Invite the opposite on purpose. Guard the middle, because if you do not, the reversal will do it for you, and it will not ask permission. You will be controlled by the very control you worship. And if you do, you will feel your life respond. It will not be dramatic. It will be real. You will wake and notice that the air is easier to breathe. You will be free not because nothing binds you, but because you have stopped binding yourself. There is a difference, and it changes everything. This is your work. This is your freedom. This is your peace. Go begin. 5%. Today.